Hello, everyone. Welcome. A little more excited. Come on. Welcome. I'm Chris Wolfel, and I have the honor and the privilege to lead entrepreneurship and venture creation for Northeastern University, and I'm a member of the Roux Institute leadership team here. On behalf of the entire university, Northeastern University's Roux Institute, the Roux Institute Techstars Accelerator, welcome to what I believe, maybe a bit biased, is the most exciting day in entrepreneurship in the state of Maine. Today, you're going to hear from 10 incredible companies. You're going to hear about the progress they've made, what they're doing to change the world. But before that, I'd like to welcome an incredible guest, a longtime supporter of innovation across the state, a key partner to the Roux Institute, Governor Janet Mills.
Thank you. Woo. Thank you. It's wonderful to join you for another demo day. And when Barbara and David Roux, announced their generous gift nearly 3 years ago, I said that the Roux Institute would be an anchor and an attraction for people far and wide here to the state of Maine. Days like today, made possible by all of you, continue to prove that prediction true. I couldn't be more thrilled for you and for Maine. Today, you're going to hear from 10 startup founders who've come to Roux from all over the world, from Maine to Chile, to grow and scale their business. Over the last 13 weeks, the Techstars Accelerator has helped startups that are poised to change how we work and how we live, how we connect with mentors, and they've been encouraging partnerships with prospective corporate members and investors and many more things they're doing. So from new ways to listen to music, to innovative technologies that will transform the fashion and wellness industries, each of these startups has shown that they have a bright future, and hopefully right here in Maine. I believe that future should be here. After last year's Accelerator, which I was pleased to attend, 3 startups indicated they were planning to move to Maine. I think they did, and that's great news. We welcome them all. Regardless of where you're from, I'm confident that the last 13 weeks have shown you folks the benefits of Maine, to be in Maine, and the benefits that Maine's startup ecosystem offer your system, your projects. And as the governor of Maine, on behalf of the 1.3 million people and growing in this state, I want to say, 7th highest in-migration rate in the last couple of years. Especially people under 30 and under 40, we need you. I want to say directly to you now, you're welcome here, and you're appreciated here. We want you here, and you will be supported here. Maine wants to help you change the world. So I congratulate all of the groups on completing this program and thank the Roux Institute for all that it continues to do, not just for Portland, but for all of Maine. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor Mills, and again, thank you all for being here. These days would not be possible without all of you being here. And one piece that I am really excited to share about is what really is everything going on across this startup ecosystem, powered by an incredible set of partners, team members, and community members. As I mentioned in the opening, I lead entrepreneurship across the Northeastern University global system. The Roux Institute at Northeastern is a campus of the global university system. Northeastern is active in 14 campuses around the world focused on experiential learning and developing innovations and talent to move economies forward. And here in Maine, we have an incredible focus on economic development in the state of Maine. We operate here as the Roux Institute, and our mission, through an incredible partnership with David and Barbara Roux and the Harold Alfond Foundation and everyone else in this room, over 140 partners, we're working tirelessly day in and day out to create opportunities for Mainers. We do this really through 3 things. Talent development. We've already graduated 50 students and are serving over 500 at this moment on our campus right across. We work with partners through research as well, where we've hired 4 world leaders in computational medicine, applied AI, human-computer data interaction, and engineering. Those have the ability to transform companies, partners, and grow the ecosystem. And finally, I'm really privileged to lead an incredible team focused on the third piece of the puzzle, which is entrepreneurship, which is why we're all here today. So first, I want to thank that incredible team. So the Roux entrepreneurship team, if you could stand up really quick and wave to everyone. I want everyone to thank this team for everything they do day in and day out. Wendy and Ben, and they're all over. And the rest of the Roux Institute team, who I encourage you all to meet over the course of today. On the entrepreneurship work, I like to say in short form, we do three things. We try to develop people, entrepreneurial skills, and individuals, whether those are learners in Waterville, Maine, where we recently ran a START Summit in partnership with Thomas College and many others, where we ran an entrepreneurship trek where we focused on blue tech innovation in partnership with the University of Maine, Gulf of Maine Research Institute, and others to develop skills and helping people develop the baseline they need to create innovations of the future. 2, building ecosystems of talent and partners. We have over 250 mentors, not only here in the state of Maine, but across the world that are focused on helping the companies in our portfolio grow and giving access to companies that want to build here, access to a global campus network. We have at least one company that you'll hear from later today that, while based here, also has team members working out of our campus in Vancouver. We have companies that are doing research projects with people in Maine and attracting more talent and more resources to companies that are trying to grow here. Because what I like to say is we're not trying to build big Maine companies. We're trying to build world-changing companies that happen to be based here in Maine. And I think as we look at the growth of these companies, I want you all to continue to remember that. You can build incredible companies if you surround those companies with research, with talent, with partners and government that are here to help them grow. And I'm really proud that over the last 2.5 years, through an incredible partnership with Techstars and Lars and Santi and Will and the entire team that makes this happen, as well as through our founder residency programs and other initiatives, we've been able to incubate 35 companies at the Roux Institute. Those 35 companies in the last 18 months have raised over $20 million in capital and created over 60 jobs here in the state. Give it up for all those companies. And as I mentioned, none of this would be possible without partners. We have over 140 of them now. Those range from companies that are small startups hiring co-ops and doing research collaborations to partnerships with the largest employers in the state, WEX, IDEX, as well as school systems and governments. So all of you, thank you for being here that are partners. If you aren't currently a partner and you want to figure out ways to work together, come find someone later when we're at our reception. We'd love to talk to you and figure out ways we can work together to grow Maine. The third piece, and the last kind of closing here, is people are at the core of all of this. The people that are developing new technologies in the research labs, the entrepreneurs building world-changing companies, the learners that are going to come work at all of your companies, but most importantly, everyone else that may just do one coffee meeting, may meet with companies every week, the mentors, the advisors, and the subject matter experts. And I'm really excited to bring up our next guest to speak a little bit about this because Shamit Grover, who I'm about to bring up to the stage, is someone I met about 2 years ago. And Shamit has a really interesting story that he's going to share with you. Born in a small city in India, went to school on the West Coast, built a career in New York, but made the decision that this is where he wants to be for the future. These types of people are what have the ability to transform. So Shamit, thank you for not only being an incredible mentor and investor in the ecosystem, but a friend and guider as we build, hopefully, the next world's great entrepreneurship ecosystem. So Shamit, over to you.
Thank you, Chris. You've been so instrumental in getting to where we are today with this, and just a good guy. Great to see everybody here. This is beyond phenomenal. This was not imaginable a few years ago, but obviously we've gotten to this stage. So just my family and I, we moved up here to live in Maine roughly 6 months ago. We've had connections here, but we finally made the decision to be up here full time earlier this year. Part of it is just what's going on here, which we'll get into. But just quick history, I grew up, as Chris mentioned, starting out in a small town in India, which when I left was 1.6 million people in 1990. I think they're at about 3.5 million people right now. Then I spent time in New Delhi, which I think today is upwards of 20 million people. So again, small town in the world. Then just outside LA, and then just outside San Francisco, and then a number of years, about a decade and a half, just outside the New York City area. And then finally, 6 months ago, to the final destination, which is Maine, right here. I met my wife in California. She grew up in Bangor, so that's kind of the connection, if you will. Go Black Bears. We've become Maine Black Bears women's basketball fans. Each of those places has its salient points. Each of those places has its characters. So it's not one is necessarily better or worse than the other. They're just different. I have had the chance to see those places grow from small cities to much larger cities and evolve. Even in the Bay Area, I was there in 05, 06, before the current expansion that's occurred there. I think, I believe that Portland and Maine are currently at a stage where the energy reflects the fiber of what looks like breakthrough growth in the future. I just see that. I see it around me. I see it in the room here. It does take a set of individuals to set the innovation agenda for you to be able to get that. And I think, Governor, you started that in 2019 with the first strategic planning initiative whatsoever. And then we were fortunate enough that the Roux family and the Alphon Foundation then seeded that with this anchor investment. And look at us now. Look at what we've been able to achieve in a matter of just a couple of years. I got involved with Margaret and Chris 2 years ago, roughly, right around this week. And that building was empty. There was nothing there. We were on a Zoom call. And as you'll see when we walk over there in a little bit, 500 people, more than that. This is changing. This is changing dramatically. And just to give you a sense for that change, as Chris said, and you heard, there's going to be 10 companies today, like 10 companies in one day that you're going to hear about. I've personally invested in 4 in the last 2 years, 4 startups and 4 businesses in Maine. And what's fascinating about that is not just the numbers. The numbers are phenomenal, but it's the diversity. So I have an investment in an industrial automation business. One of the founders is in the audience. I saw her earlier. There she is. And it's a phenomenal business that's very representative of what's going on here. There's a business in clinical data from last year's Techstars class. There's a business in financial services. The founder of that one is here as well. And then there's a business in marine services. We help with NOAA with cameras and boats. So there's all sorts of very interesting businesses that are being birthed right here. And that's evolving every day, and more opportunities are coming up. What makes that happen and what that reflects is this amazing energy and the chances that you have higher coincidences of people coming together and creating new things. So again, from my vantage point, and people can have their own views, what's going on here is absolute breakthrough, and the next 5-10 years for this state are going to be incredibly different. I fundamentally believe that we are setting the innovation agenda nationally and potentially internationally over time, and that's the opportunity. So if you're on a Zoom listening to this, I suggest you come here. We have, I know we sold out, but I'm sure we can find a bigger venue in the future. Thank you, everyone. Take care. And with that, it's Lawrence.
Whoa, lots of people. It's kind of fun to get dressed up after 2 years of, fancy shirts but underwear on Zoom calls. So thank you, Shamit. Thank you, Chris. And thank you, Governor, for taking the time out of your busy post-election schedule to visit us. Well, the governor was quite a hit last year, and the odds are being laid right now on just which CEO is going to get this year's gubernatorial hug. It went to Cicla last year, so. Thanks for all of you for turning out for this in person here. I'm Lars Perkins. I'm the managing director of the Techstars Accelerator program, the Roux Institute Techstars Accelerator program. And also welcome to the untold millions out there in the ether watching us. It's a good thing that the World Cup isn't playing today because we would have crushed their ratings. It's just It's much higher draw, I think. Techstars is the worldwide network that helps entrepreneurs succeed. We have over 50 locations across the globe, and we've graduated over 3,000 companies. And since our founding in 2006, and this year we'll add over 600 companies to that tally. So 600 startups a year. And 10 of those 600 or so are sitting over here. So some operate, some of our programs operate standalone in cities like Berlin and Stockholm and New York and Boston, and some are done in partnership with organizations. Our partner here is the Roux. And our focus, just as Shamit has said, and Chris also, and the governor also, is to foster economic growth in Maine and help establish Portland as a tech hub. Well, last year I said, hopefully, we wouldn't have to say Portland, Maine as a tech hub because everybody would know that Portland was the tech hub. But we actually have a little incident today with one of the family of the founders who wanted to come out for this presentation, so they bought a ticket to Portland. And only on the in-flight map, moving map, did they realize that they had the wrong Portland. But as I understand it, they traveled all night and they're here after all. So. Okay, each year we graduate 10 companies, here's their logos, and selected from hundreds of applicants. You'll be hearing from each one of them in just a few minutes. So today's the culmination of 13 weeks of very hard work. We're trying to get them ready for life in the real world. And many of you guys have called it life-changing, right? An MBA in 3 months, 2 years of work condensed into 13 weeks. Some of you have called it other things, but these are the good ones. This year we have 2 companies based in Maine, and the rest come from all over the country, including one from Chile. We had one from Chile last year, whose plan still remains to relocate to Maine, just some visa details being worked out. So Maine gave us a warm welcome in September when we started the program. We kicked off with kind of an adventure weekend, even kayaking with LL Bean up in Freeport. And things have gotten a little bit colder since then, but the warmth of Maine continues to shine through. Those not from Maine are amazed by the hospitality that has been shown to them here. The CEO of our Chilean company was in line at Panda Express and started talking to a local. And when he got to the cash register, his bill was paid. He said, "Welcome to Maine." And that doesn't happen too often in Silicon Valley, by the way. It's not just the warmth of the people that make a difference. Some of our cohort participants really have never been to Maine or a state like it. And so what they saw for the first time was fall and the leaves changing color. And she remarked to me, she said, "Oh, what I can't believe is that the smell of fresh rain on the leaves." And I thought we've probably all grown up with that. We take it for granted. But when she said that, it just brought me back to that just pungent kind of experience of walking through the woods, raindrops falling, and that beautiful, beautiful smell. So think of that, experiencing that for the first time. Another company was introduced to a local tailor who, you'll hear about the company in just a minute. They're our first presenter, but the tailor welcomed them with open arms and helped them refine some of the features of the product, and even ran a customer survey. So just joined in to help. But they're not the only entrepreneurs in the room. I have to acknowledge that the Roux in itself is a remarkable startup. only 2 years old now, celebrating its 3rd birthday in January. They've been an extraordinary partner and helping our companies through the generosity of their faculty and the student body. Is it learner body now? Is it student body? I'll get used to it. So I'd like to give Chris, Emily, Wendy, Ben, and all the folks at the Roux who have helped make this program so successful a big thanks. But a shout out to someone who doesn't always stand in the limelight is Addie, who runs the physical plant. And when you get over there for the reception, you'll see that nobody has a permanent office. It's all temporary. You go in the morning, you pick a desk to work on. So it's all fluid. Even the bigwigs, they don't have a permanent office. Except for us. They let us have permanent desks for 13 weeks so that our companies could be together. And so we know that's upsetting the apple cart. And we'll be out of your hair soon, Addie, if you're watching. They have also added value by letting us take advantage of some of the experiential learning programs that Northeastern pioneered. I still remember the first co-op I ever hired. He remains one of my best friends. I hired him in the 80s. And the generous commitment of time and faculty who are world's experts in their fields of study and research, like Ray Winslow in computational medicine and Jack Lusko, who worked with one of our companies, Cicla, on advanced manufacturing stuff. So a big thank you to the Roux Institute. Margaret, Ben, I see you up front here, Wendy. So thank you. I'm gonna give them a round of applause. Okay, so the Techstars program relies on mentors. What are mentors? They come in and they donate their time to these companies. There's 63 of them that turned out this year. And they don't get anything guaranteed in return other than the pleasure of giving back. Out of that 63, I think we have about 35 in the room here today, so a big thank you to those. Many of them come out of the program as just the most fun that they've had in a long, long time. So after the kayaking and fun is over, the company spends 2 weeks in back-to-back meetings with every mentor. This year where there were 63, so imagine telling your story 63 times over 2 weeks. It's grueling, and the end result after that is companies get matched with mentors who've indicated an interest in working with that company, and the company has expressed an interest in working with a mentor. And those folks become what we call lead mentors, and they make a weekly commitment to help the companies through the remaining 10 weeks of the program. They give so generously. It really struck me last year. It really surprised me how much they give to our companies, and our program just would not exist without them. So to the 35 that are in the audience and the 30 or so that aren't, I want to extend a huge, huge thank you. Also, there's a couple folks that I want to call out who donated their time. They weren't mentors, but really helped out on some video production, which you're going to see in a minute, and some branding work. So thank you, Tom Hughes, Ezra Wolfinger, Alex Lagore, and Tom O'Keefe, who all pitched in on projects that you'll see the results of soon. We also thank founders who come in and tell their stories, warts and all. Thank you, Tori. Just the real life world of building a startup with all of its sacrifices is just not always how it looks in a newspaper article or on an online story where everybody seems to be overnight successes. It takes a lot of hard work and a long journey to get even theoretically to success. And the more we can learn from folks who have walked that path before, the better off we are. This guy is Fred Forsley. He's the founder of Shipyard Brewing, and he was kind enough to let us use his bar to hold some of our founder talks to give us a little change of pace. and a few libations to make the hard learnings go down easier. And so a big shout out to Fred, who also did his founder story, which was great. Okay. We thank the mentors, we thank the folks that contributed their stories and workshops. And next, I need to thank our program staff. So I get to stand up in front here and talk, but Santi, my program manager, our program manager, ensures the program runs like a Swiss watch. And in addition, this year just added so much of his own wise counsel to the growth of the companies through the program. So Santi, you're amazing. Received so many emails from you at 3 a.m. and then you're there the next morning. So if you could come up briefly, I'd like to present you with a gift that the cohort and I would like to present. This is empty, don't open it. Now the balance of the program staff is only here with us temporarily, and the pay isn't any good, and there's no hope of advancement, so they're out in the world after the program on their own. Many of them are looking for permanent employment. I hope you get to know them at the reception. They have done just an extraordinary job, both on the business development side, researching investors and helping with models, but also on the design side. You'll see some of the work in the slides, which were a collaborative effort between the program, between our associates and the company's founders. Julie and Banati kept our social media posts alive, as well as did counseling to companies on issues related to marketing. And Will was Santi's right-hand man to keep everything running smoothly along with him. I cannot tell you, like, I forget what actor said it a long time ago, but he's just like, acting isn't hard, just show up and don't bump into the furniture. And that's the way I feel about this program, is they make it easy. I just have to show up and not bump into the furniture. But if I did, they'd return it to its original position. Okay. Now, Techstars also has a network of partners, a global network partner group that provides services at discounted or free to the startups that go through the program. And it's worth tens of thousands of dollars to the companies. And they also, interestingly, the people that are like in charge at Silicon Valley Bank of working with startups are themselves startup founders. So it's really unique working with these partners. And the point of contact is often an entrepreneur, him or herself. And I want to show you an example. The latest partner on this list is Brex, in the lower right-hand corner there. They've got a great set of services for small businesses. I love it. But they were able to help one of our companies secure a billboard in Times Square. And we mobilized our network. When we got the billboard video produced in 3 days, and let's take a look at it. Okay, Colette. Here to tell us why sizing sucks and how she's fixing it with her company, PS Collective, is Colette Johnson.
You all know the feeling. Maybe it's those jeans that hug you just right, or that power suit that's going to help you close that deal. But you know it. You put it on and no one can stop you. You're invincible. But when was the last time that you felt this way? For women, they're lucky enough to find just one item in their closets that helps them to feel that confidence. I want to let you in on a little secret. The clothes we own aren't ours. They were made to fit a standard that was developed in the 1940s. In fact, our clothes own us. But what if we could change that? For the women in the room, I want you to think back to the last year of clothes shopping, either online or in person. Now think about the times you've had to return said clothes due to poor fit. Don't worry, you're actually in the majority. 7 in 10 women struggle to find clothes that fit their bodies. It's a problem. In fact, this year alone, clothing returns accounted for $760 billion. Women are frustrated. Companies are hemorrhaging money, and to make matters worse, we're contributing to the global climate crisis. That's right. Fashion is the second largest polluter in the world, just behind oil and gas. I'm Colette Johnson, co-founder and CEO of the PS Collective, here to put an end to the continuous cycle of waste and inefficiency in fashion. And we began this journey by launching a marketplace of sustainable, hand-picked brands here to address the needs of the 70% of underserved women looking for niche clothing, all in one place. With just 2 pictures of the shopper, one front and one side, as well as answers to key style and fit preferences, we create a fully personalized shopping experience for the user. No more standardized sizing. That's right. Our proprietary AI technology is 5 times more accurate than the small, medium, large that you're used to today. And this technology was actually developed by my right hand, co-founder and CTO, Francesca Donadoni. Francesca is a machine learning engineer with a PhD who was recognized as one of the 30 women advancing AI in the world. And we realized that with this technology, we're able to drive down the amount of time that women waste trying to find the perfect fit by at least 75%, while boosting their confidence, and ultimately, at full scale, eliminate the equivalent CO2 emissions to that of 3 million cars. And this is great news for brands too, because with the decrease in returns by at least 30% and more accurate data, brands are better able to understand their consumer and be able to predict demand for future collections. Let's take Valentina, for example. Valentina is 5'3" and came to our site after being fed up with having to cuff all of her jeans because they were just too long. She took our quiz, submitted her photos, and received her personalized page to shop from. And you know what? Valentina is actually here with us today, and I want to bring her up on stage to show off her outfit. Valentina selected jeans, a blouse, and a jacket, all of which we styled for her. Her very own fit advisor checked in with her along the way to make sure that the process was running smoothly and suggest new ways for her to style her outfit. Doesn't she look amazing? Thank you. The opportunity for a market like this is massive. This year alone, clothing online sales reached $152 billion, set to grow in just 5 years' time to $230 billion. So let's take a look at our current timeline. We launch in beta this month, looking forward to our version 1.0 release early in Q1 next year. In Q2, we have set partnerships with manufacturing companies in order to test our decentralized marketplace. Our concentration is on gathering data, perfecting technology, and ultimately growing the core part of our business, all while bringing on made-to-measure brands into the fold. So I'm going to leave you with this last question. In 2022, when we've sent people to the moon, cliche, I know, have self-driving cars, and realistic avatars and digital realities, why is it so hard to find clothes that fit and make us feel good? Thank you.
Great job, great job. Oh, I'm up here now. Well, if you didn't get the QR code, there'll be plenty of opportunities at the reception later. We've had this running joke about knowing the feeling. You know the feeling. I know the feeling. So it's been a lot of fun working with you, Colette and Adina, and one of the top 30 women advancing AI in the world. Okay, so next, we've had a company that had a big launch, but they actually had 2 launches. One was not software. They've launched, let's see, ByDesign, yes, okay. So I'm gonna let Nelson come up and explain how he managed to launch his product at Boston University, even with the pressures of having a newborn child.
Hello, everyone. My name is Arthur, and I am the co-founder and CEO of ByDesign. Do you remember what it felt like to be a college student? Or maybe you don't. Well, college isn't all fun. So let me tell you about 2 of the biggest problems facing college students today. The first one, no surprise, is time management. 80% of college students struggle with planning their homework. For example, many students spend hours manually copying their homework assignments and deadlines into spreadsheets. And some go even further by then creating events for those assignments in their calendar. What a ridiculous waste of time, right? And the second problem, which may not have been a big issue for us back in the day, but is a big problem today, is student isolation. 72% of students feel disconnected on campus. Many students are trying to use multiple tools to find people who share similar interests, classes, and professors, but the process is a complete mess. It makes it really hard for students to connect. And that's why we built ByDesign, the first platform that brings planning and community together. For example, we collect data that allows us to automate the planning process and make things really magical for students by populating their task lists and calendars with their homework assignments, while making note-taking and goal-setting easy. Next, we take a disconnected student body and we bring them together, because when planning and community are together, it enables students to connect, collaborate, and achieve goals. So, how does it work? Well, meet Jo, a college freshman in Boston. During onboarding, we just ask her a few simple questions, which allows us to automatically add her to group chats for all of her classes, and her homework are downloaded into ByDesign. Next, she explores the school directory and immediately connects with several students, and even connects with one student who shares a similar taste in music. While exploring the activity feed, she sees that a classmate is looking for a running accountability partner, and she adds the habit to her calendar with one click. And their progress is shared in real time. Next, Jo is off to class, and she uses ByDesign's workspace to take notes, organize tasks, and collaborate with other students. But how is Jo going to manage all of these competing priorities? She's going to use ByDesign's calendar to drag and drop tasks to her calendar to block off time. Later that day, Jo receives a message in ByDesign about an upcoming race in Boston. She's taken to ByDesign's events page and adds the race to her calendar with one click. ByDesign really has changed Jo's life. It's taken a normal, disconnected, and overwhelmed college student and given her the tools and community she needs to be her very best. So, we had a beta launch at Boston University 2 weeks ago to test our hypothesis, and the results blew us away. There were over 1,800 student signups, and each student, on average, connected with 21 other students. We are just getting started. And our growth plan is simple: to replicate what we did at BU on college campuses across the country. And the market potential is enormous. There's over 20 million college students in the US. But we also plan to launch at high schools and eventually expand to young professionals. And let's not forget, the United States is just a small part of the global market. Our revenue model is advertising and sponsored content. And we actually already have affiliate partnerships with Coursera, Udemy, Babbel, and Skillshare. Lastly, what I am most proud of is our team. You cannot find a group of more talented and compassionate people. We're experts in design, engineering, and strategy. But most importantly, we are 100% committed to helping every student achieve their full potential. With that, I have a huge favor to ask of everybody. Can you please take out your phones? And can you turn on your cameras? And can you please download our app? Thank you.
Let's go. Wallace. I got to say, that team worked harder than I've ever seen in my whole career to make that launch successful, setting up booths and even innovating with some very interesting placements of the QR code to download the app. You know, you have to see that one. I also want to point out that their engineering team is partially overseas, and a number of them are in Ukraine. And while they're preparing for the launch, I don't have the picture here, but we were seeing pictures of them in their bathroom during air raids with a car battery powering the laptops as they were delivering the code that your team so badly needed. So I'd just like to thank them. Okay, so Product Hunt is a site that people go on to and vote for their favorite products, like their favorite app. And this next company you're going to hear from made it to number 6 on Product Hunt when they launched the new version of their app last week, 2 weeks ago. And it comes as the brainchild of a woman who took a very long bike ride and learned something on that bike ride that made her want to create a company. So let's see what she learned.
Hi, I'm Maggie Bockenberg, CEO and co-founder of Pointz, a safety-focused mapping app for urban bike and scooter riders. I first got the idea for Pointz 5 years ago when I biked from Virginia to California. It was an incredible experience. But navigating through large cities was one of the most challenging parts, and it was often dangerous. I tried using Google Maps to figure out where to ride, but it clearly did not account for safety. I finally figured out that the best way to find good routes was by asking local cyclists. And I'm not the only one that gets nervous riding. In fact, 70% of people that live in cities say that they would ride more, but only if they felt safe. Well, with our solution Pointz, now you can. Pointz uses existing data sets and crowdsourcing to produce the best routes in real time. Think Waze, but for bikes. In order to produce great routes up front, we rate every road on a 1 through 5 bike friendliness scale. These ratings are based on the road's attributes, including the bike infrastructure, traffic volume, and number of lanes. Our riders then contribute additional information to the map, like bike lane obstructions, dangerous intersections, and other hazards. This helps to enhance the map's accuracy in real time. All of this data informs the routes that we recommend, which can be customized based on people's preferences and the purpose of their ride. Now you no longer need to ask locals which routes to take. Pointz takes care of that. And people aren't just biking for fun. Last mile delivery companies are increasingly using bikes to deliver in dense urban areas because it's simply more efficient than cars or vans. However, delivering on a bike is extremely dangerous. A Cornell study found that nearly 50% of delivery drivers had had at least one accident since they began delivering on their bike. Not only is this detrimental for the rider, it also costs the delivery companies thousands of dollars per incident. Pointz's real-time crowdsourced data and safer routing information can help to reduce the number of injuries and increase efficiency. We keep the consumer app free to users by tapping into this market. Since launching Pointz, we've had over 5,000 people join our community and over 9,000 road reports submitted. With all this feedback, we've spent Techstars building out the alpha version of our app, which we launched just a couple weeks ago, and have had an overwhelmingly positive response from the cycling community. We'll spend the next few months continuing to iterate on the app and developing our marketing playbook by running experiments in 4 major US cities. Our team is well positioned to lead Pointz. My co-founder, Trisha, has experience developing mobile apps at early-stage startups and Fortune 500 companies. Our senior software engineer, Karen Hughes, has over 20 years of mapping experience and 7 years at MapQuest. And I've worked as a VC consultant and have expertise in urban transportation. We would love to have each of you join us on the ride by downloading Pointz today. Thank you.
Great job. People in the audience with small children at home? A few? Well, I'm told that this year's cold and flu season is the worst on record. And the next CEO certainly had an exposure to that in her own home, but somehow managed to both build her company during this time, as well as appear on the cover of Main Biz. Well, I won't, trust me, she's on the cover of Main Biz. Not making that up. So she's here to tell us what women's #1 health concern is. I think it'll surprise you. Welcome.
Burned out, stressed, and overwhelmed. I'm willing to bet that everyone in this audience has felt this way in the past month, maybe even the past week. Yet research shows that stress disproportionately affects women. When you look at our healthcare landscape, however, it centers around women's fertility, when in reality, only 0.01% of women are pregnant at any one time. Yet 2 out of 3 of us feel like this. We feel exhausted, tired, anxious, and overwhelmed. We're burned out. Burnout is our #1 health concern. Yet, for women, solutions are hard to find, expensive, or they don't exist at all. Women are left piecing together makeshift solutions that's costing them thousands of dollars and years of their lives. What's worse is the American Psychological Association reports that stress and burnout are at all-time highs and continuing to rise. Women are desperate for solutions, and this is why we created Hey Freya. Imagine a world where you can easily access tools to understand and heal your body in the privacy of your own home. No more waiting, no more extra appointments, no more worry about whether a doctor will take you seriously. Hey Freya is the first all-in-one solution that empowers women to conquer burnout in the privacy of their homes. And we've based our solutions on over 25,000 clinical studies and 10,000 clinical hours. Here's how it works. First, a woman receives a clinical-grade biomarker test in the privacy of her home. Then, she fills out a short assessment in our app that reveals her personal lifestyle needs and her Hey Freya score. Based on her Hey Freya score, we then make personalized recommendations to cutting-edge and proprietary supplements that help her heal and balance her body. Through this easy 1, 2, 3 process, women have the tools that they need to take on burnout and to start feeling like themselves again. We also realize that one size does not fit all. People are busy, and so therefore we have a few options. You can either subscribe or choose from a la carte options with different benefits so that every woman gets what she needs for herself. We simply put everyone in control. Solving for burnout is a massive problem with a massive and growing opportunity. McKinsey reported in September of this year that women spend, on average, $110 per month on wellness alone, and there's no indication of this spend falling despite inflation. This gives us a total resilient market opportunity of $142 billion. My name is Hulkenberg. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Freya. I, like many of you, have experienced burnout. The first time for me was as a Division I athlete at Yale, and later on as a mother to 3 kids while working full-time. I've spent my career building beautiful, highly scalable SaaS software that's been enjoyed by users from Europe to Latin America to here in the United States. And I have 2 incredible co-founders. Dhar Vyali, she's a trained naturopathic physician, nutritionist, as well as studied health informatics at Johns Hopkins University. She's incredibly deep experience both in creating cutting-edge supplements at revered companies like Thorne Research, as well as a variety of digital health companies, including one acquired by Virgin Pulse. As well as Cecilia. She has led strategy and well-being at PwC, as well as an expert in finance and M&A. In her strategy and well-being role, she was responsible for the enterprise software acquisition and performance for over 80,000 employees. She saw firsthand what works and what doesn't work, and what keeps users engaged and coming back for more. Together, we are the perfect team to tackle this massive problem of burnout and put women in control to conquer it in the privacy of their own homes. Let's imagine for a moment, what would the world be like if women went from surviving to thriving? Join our waitlist to find out. We launched in January of 2023, and we're incredibly honored and excited to have you on this journey with us to transform women's health by ending burnout together.
What amazing progress you've made, even with those obstacles at home, and what a team you've put together. It's really extraordinary. Okay. You've told us that only 0.01% of women are pregnant, but somehow in this cohort, we've had 2 babies. So that's, let's see, 2 out of 10, that's 20%. So you had the baby, Ryan, while you were, while you're in the program, and also while you successfully were running this Kickstarter campaign to raise money so that you could do the initial launch of your product. So without further ado, I'm gonna tell you a little bit about what you do. Ryan's gonna tell us, you know how hard it is to find a plug to plug your new gadget in? You're rooting around under the bed. Ryan is here to tell us how he makes it easy to unplug things.
Well, hi, everybody. My name is Ryan. I'm the CEO and co-founder of ReVert Technologies, where we make it easy and rewarding to turn things off. And what a relevant time to be doing so, because electricity costs have soared across our nation. We just paid staggering summer cooling bills, and winter's already here. Whether you work, game, or study from home, this year we've all hit the power button more often, turning off devices, saving energy here and there, right? Sadly, that's not entirely the case. Whether it's the red dot on TVs, or the stereo you rarely fire up, or worse yet, the printer standing by 364 days for a 3-second print job. As long as these devices remain plugged in, simply hitting the power button won't stop them from leaching energy. This is commonly known as phantom load, but it is a real problem to you. Each month, you pay at least 10% of your utility bill to phantom load, and in aggregate across the nation, we emit 44 million metric tons of CO2 each year. That's equivalent to driving 9 million cars on the road. Let that sink in. Well, it turns out, to save energy, you gotta unplug devices every time after use. Gee, who'd have thought that energy saving is actually this difficult? Well, it doesn't have to be this way, and that's why we are here to help you simply plug and save. We built a family of products. Whether it's the multi-outlet power extender, the T-Cube, or the single-outlet adapter, Acorn, they're all managed by our artificial intelligence. And here's how they work. Simply plug your devices from your TV entertainment system or home office, and our AI will begin to learn when are your devices leaching power and when they're actively in use. Cross-referencing your usage against the local utility grid will also help you track your carbon emissions. But most importantly, Let our AI nudge and guide you on when to cut power on and off to each of those outlets, maximizing energy saving, minimizing your carbon footprint, yet no disruption to lifestyle. All you have to do is simply hit accept and let our AI do the work of removing phantom load and then helping you on track to return your investment in energy savings in as quick as 6 months and reduce 0.5 ton of carbon emissions for you each year and every year. Wasn't that easy? Well, here comes the rewarding part. The more you turn things off, the more TEAC points you'll earn, which then can be credited towards your next energy efficiency upgrade, like getting a new LED light bulb, to amplify your savings and environmental impact. And each time this virtuous cycle spins, you win, our business partners will win, and our planet can win. Turns out, it's not just you, but ESG-focused businesses can really benefit from our technology. We're piloting this with the Roux and working our way around town. You will be amazed at the 2 a.m. unused treadmills, projectors, meeting booths, bakery cases, vending machines that we will turn off for people, businesses, and our planet. You've already met me, and here's my co-founder, Joe. Together, we're a team of 1.5 engineers, but 2 climate optimists. Having built large hardware for companies like Shell and clever software for Alibaba and small startups via Venture for America, we're here to dedicate our talent to address one of the most pressing problems of our time, climate change. And we are not alone. Having found our initial exciting early adopter community off of Kickstarter, and with the backing of so many wonderful institutions, we're more than ready to cut power off for you. And so, whether you're an investor, business partner, or a customer who just cannot wait to get your hands on this clever cube, join our community. Help us to help you build a leaner, greener, and smarter future. Thank you.
Well, that woke me up. Where does all that energy come from? Like, how do you unplug? That's what I want to know.
Not today, not today.
So it's so nice to see all your faces this year. Last year we were in this room, but everybody was behind a mask. So hopefully COVID is behind us, maybe. But there's one part of our COVID habits that are not changing in the near future, and that is the epidemic of video calls, Zoom, Microsoft Teams, etc. Rachel is here to tell you how she's making these calls better.
No problem, I got it. Hi, my name's Rachel Kosser, co-founder and CEO at Virtual Sapiens. We use AI to help professionals and teams master their virtual presence. During my 10 years dancing with the Boston Ballet, I learned just how much you can communicate through body language. When I left the ballet, I translated my understanding of nonverbal communication to help professionals communicate more effectively by improving their nonverbal skills. And then, almost 3 years ago, the pandemic triggered one of the biggest changes our modern workforce has ever experienced, and video became the only way to communicate face-to-face. So, how many of you have been on a video call or meeting that looks or feels like this? Yeah, of course, because few of us have had the guidance or education needed to really know how to show up on video. And frankly, we all thought this was going to go away. But as we've come to see, video is here to stay. And to win in business today, professionals everywhere, sales teams, executives, educators, need to master communication over video. And that is where we come in. Virtual Sapiens combines AI technology and behavioral science to help professionals assess, improve, and master the nonverbal cues that are essential to making video communication impactful. Our AI assessment is the first step on your Virtual Sapiens journey. In 5 minutes, you receive a comprehensive baseline of your communication strengths and weaknesses, Once your skills are assessed, you're ready for Sidekick. Let's take a closer look at Sidekick in action. Campbell is animatedly talking to the person on her screen. Sidekick helpfully provides her with a subtle visual nudge live in call so that she can redirect her eye gaze into the lens and have a more direct connection with her audience. Now Campbell is way too close to the frame. This actually causes a very intense experience for the viewer and is a #1 contributor to Zoom fatigue. So once again, we see Sidekick helpfully prompting Campbell to take a little bit of space, right? And how amazing that Campbell can also, in real time, keep her speaker share in check. Now, after this call, Campbell will receive a post-call report card that contextualizes any of those visual nudges she received during the call into perception-based insights, so she can understand how it is like things, maybe gestures, facial expressions, active listening, and eye contact actually affect her perceived trustworthiness from a nonverbal perspective on video. Now imagine this technology in use across a distributed team. In fact, let's take IBM, for example. IBM recognizes the critical need to improve communication across their sales teams. So they piloted our AI tool this fall. 95% of participants improved their virtual presence as a result of using our tools. This was the first time that every individual received personalized, ongoing, and on-demand feedback, and at a fraction of the cost of bringing in a private coach. In-call AI analytics is a rapidly growing industry, and we are just getting started. While the products I shared with you today focus on the presenter getting feedback on themselves, the next evolution of virtual Sapiens technology includes using our technology to provide the presenter with feedback on how their audience is engaging with them in real time on video. Now, of course, none of this would be possible without my incredible technical co-founder, CTO Neil Kaiser, who has put together a stellar technical team and has a successful exit under his belt. Our advisors support us in key ways, from academic and scientific rigor to go-to-market strategy. To win in business today, professionals everywhere need to master communication over video. Virtual Sapiens meets professionals where they are to fill an important gap and address this massive new business requirement. I would like to invite all of you Virtual Sapiens, to see for yourselves. Take our free assessment and start your own journeys towards mastering your virtual presence today. Thank you.
Rachel's added so much to this program outside of just building her business. She reminds everybody what poor posture we have. She also coached the teams in how to use their bodies on stage to communicate better. I did not get that coaching, so I'm a little just shuffling around here with my pages. But anyway, a virtual coach up in the sky, in the clouds. There's a lot happening in the cloud, and that's where our software that we use every day lives. But it's complicated up there, and the next company is simplifying the way that cloud systems are designed and deployed. Vinco.
Hi everyone, my name is Vinco Buble. I'm CEO and co-founder of Torque. When I began my career in software development 23 years ago, software companies would release new products to the world inside messy utility rooms like this, right next to brooms and extra coffee filters. That all changed in 2006 when Amazon introduced web services. The cloud was born. Cloud allows us to build incredibly powerful, complex systems from hundreds, even thousands of different parts. So systems rapidly grow from something like this to something like this. This is a real cloud service map from one large company. As you might imagine, it's trying to work with all these parts creates a new set of problems. Cloud systems, it turns out, are fragile. things are easy to break. That is probably why the phrase move fast and break things is popular among developers. But as companies grow and many people depend on it, breaking things isn't an option anymore. They have to move slowly, very slowly. In fact, software teams waste up to 5 months of every year and millions of dollars to manage and fix and even rebuild entire systems just to keep things working smoothly. I'm here to tell you that Torque has eliminated the problem of fragile software systems. With our breakthrough technology, software teams can move fast and break nothing. More than once in my career, in companies like PayPal and others, it was my job to fix these failing cloud systems. It was a hero's journey, spending several months with all the pain and drama you would expect along the way. I was always successful in the end, but I never wanted to do that again. So armed with hard-won insights from years in battle, I resolved to do something about it. To embark on this new journey, I enlisted as co-founders my longtime colleagues. Jacob Zeba as a CTO, who brings 13 years of experience architecting massive cloud systems, and Mike Sobel as CRO, who has been launching and growing businesses for 22 years. Torque framework, to put it simply, is an entirely new way of managing cloud systems that allows developers to deliver complex system-wide projects with simple commands. Developers stick to high-value stuff while the framework does all the hard work. That means that we can compress months of extra work into days or days into hours while dramatically reducing the chance for error. We released our core technology back in May of this year. In August, we signed up 6 design partners to paid pilots, and our first design partner went live in October. Our second design partner, also the largest we signed up, just approved our Torque deployment, and they are going live. We are working on learning from design partners and adding capabilities to satisfy a wider range of their needs. Today, developers can use Torque to deploy their systems to DigitalOcean's cloud, and we are adding the capability to deploy the Amazon's cloud, and by the September of next year, we expect to cover 80% of use cases out of the box. We are working to expand our community and to create the best possible experience for developers. So if you know a developer, tell them about Torque. They can go to our site, they can learn about it, take it for a spin. We would love to hear what they think about using Torque to move fast, break nothing. Thank you.
Oh, boy. As a pilot, I know that working in clouds is tough, but I didn't know how tough it had become. So far we've had, let's see, a Division I athlete, a professional ballerina, a CEO that biked across country, underachievers all. And now we're going to hear about a world-class competitive athlete who had to cut short her career because she was afflicted with a disease that I had no idea was so prevalent. Christine.
When I was 16, I was an internationally competitive cyclist. But then, just months before competing in the World Championships, my health deteriorated. Every single time I ate, it felt like I was swallowing razor blades. I started losing every single race, and my career as an athlete was over. I was eventually diagnosed with Crohn's disease, and while I had a name for what was wrong, I was unable to find relief. And I lived with that feeling of razor blades for over 10 years. But during that decade, I found I was far from alone. 1 in 5 Americans has a chronic digestive disease, resulting in $136 billion spent every single year on hospital stays, doctor's visits, medications, and tests. That's more than either heart disease or mental health disorders. But I was lucky. I found a path to relief, and I've been able to get my life back. But it took more than just medications. It took finding a way to change my habits around diet and stress management. And as anyone who's tried to do this knows, habits are really, really hard to change. But getting support makes it a lot easier. You're more likely to go to a yoga or meditation class if you're going with a friend, and you're more likely to stick to a diet if you're around people who eat similarly. Cypress Health leverages social support to help people make lasting change and finally find relief. We're building a community that helps people change their habits through education, gut health exercises, and peer support. New users start by learning about the gut-brain axis, so they've got the background that they need to implement evidence-based exercises. And stress plays a really critical role in digestive diseases, but many people don't understand exactly why that is or how to effectively manage their stress. And as they master habits, the curriculum progressively introduces the other lifestyle factors that affect gut health, like dietary change. And on the platform, peer support takes two forms. The first is a group that users are matched with based on their preferred accountability style. And they're encouraged to share progress daily through short voice and text prompts. But Cypress also offers peer support through a public video feed. It's a place for users to be inspired by educational content or other users' progress. And while other platforms are saturated with misinformation, the Cypress feed is moderated to ensure that content is evidence-based. I met my co-founder, Haley, while working at a Sequoia-backed augmented reality startup where I was managing the software team while she prototyped and scaled hardware. And we both share a passion for making our customers happy, no matter what products we're working on. And we're excited to be launching our product this January. We're starting with a direct-to-consumer subscription plan. And as we grow, we plan to take advantage of shifts in healthcare that incentivize paying for better health outcomes rather than just more services. And that opens up additional channels of revenue through employers and health plans. And as you can see, I am now back on my bike. But I really wish I had this product 10 years ago. And if you know someone with digestive issues, please let them know about Cypress. Thank you.
Wow, swallowing razor blades, that's kind of an uncomfortable image. Okay. This next company, pretty much everything about it makes me feel old. The founder suspended his undergraduate studies to start this business, which is, helps discover new music you haven't heard before. You see, Gen Z doesn't discover music like I thought everyone did. They don't buy vinyl records. They don't listen to the radio. They want to have it in little bite-sized snippets. And their music, it's just noise. And they won't get off my lawn. Okay, but what really makes me feel old is what one member of their tech team did, which you'll learn more and when Max tells you, Max of HotDrop. Wait a minute, I didn't do the thing where I told him that you had this full, almost top billing in the Wall Street Journal. So super successful.
Thank you.
Wall Street Journal, an article about the top 5 apps that help you discover new music. They're in there. Pretty good for 21-year-old.
Yeah, definitely not used to vinyl, but it's coming back. Spotify is great if you know what you want to listen to. But how do you discover new music? My name is Max Goldberg. I'm the co-founder and CEO of HotDrop, a music discovery platform that connects undiscovered artists with superfans. Did you know that 90% of artists have 0 plays on the music they release to Spotify? Millions of new artists are invisible and go completely undiscovered. This isn't a coincidence. Spotify's curated playlists have been dominated by the 3 major record labels for over 5 years. We're not discovering anything new because 3 companies decide which artists and songs get heard. Superfans like me, who account for 80% of artists' revenues, have no way to explore beyond these mainstream artists. So the record labels, they must be crushing it. Not quite. The music industry is suffering like never before. As one label executive put it, the market is dry as... Come on, you didn't think I'd really say that. My parents are right over there. And the industry's looking for what's next. I have several career executives asking me, a 21-year-old founder, which artists they should be following and looking to do business with, because Gen Z discovers music way differently than any other generation has. The solution is to do what TikTok did for video discovery and beat old players who don't understand how Gen Z discovers content. As Lars said, we're not listening to full albums or the radio. We use social media, hear a snippet of a song, impulsively share it with friends, or keep swiping if we're not interested. This rapid discovery of song snippets fixes the broken model and leads to a ton of virality in friend groups. With HotDrop, users swipe through an endless feed of 30-second song snippets, helping them find a ton of great new music really quickly. With one tap, you can save the full version of a song to your library, listen to it anytime. One tap sharing with friends, see what's going viral in your area or on your college campus, and most importantly, support the new artists you love. Last September 2021, my co-founder Steven and I launched the HotDrop MVP as a side project while full-time undergrads. In 2 days, HotDrop skyrocketed to number 7 on the App Store top charts for music. In 2 weeks, we had over 25,000 users and 2 million new songs were discovered. Oh, we were college kids. We spent less than $5,000 to do that. Hundreds of artists started begging us to promote their music directly to our Gen Z audience. So we decided to pursue HotDrop full-time and build on our success with these artists. In Techstars, we built HotDrop Studio. This is a hub for artists, music creators, to store their songs, reach Gen Z, and use discovery data our app generates to learn from their releases. Since launching in October, artists have uploaded thousands of songs 100% organically to HotDrop Studio. At the same time, we rebuilt our app to support the use of our own catalog. HotDrop users spend twice as much time per session than users do on leading streaming services. How do we make money? We make money empowering millions of song discovery moments. There are over 30 million music creators who could benefit from our $20 a month HotDrop Studio Pro plan. As we scale, we'll have enormous sets of active discovery data, and our plan is to harness these real-time insights to help music companies find stars earlier and know where to book their next live event. I'm humbled to be working with a team of product-driven music lovers and artists who have been a part of 3 exits, work for consumer app giants like Snapchat and Reddit, and in Beck's case, where are you, Beck? Beck's case, hacked his school's login system in the 1st grade. The music industry is disrupted in cycles and hasn't been in over 10 years. HotDrop is going to disrupt new music discovery and fix the artist-to-fan connection. Download HotDrop today and start swiping to find the next star in music. Thank you.
Well, I've been coaching him on that line for so long. It's like, started off with, hacked his school's grading system in the first grade. I'm like, no, you hacked his school's grading system in the first grade. The kid was 5 years old. He was nearly kicked out. So that makes you feel old. But the other stat that I learned was like literally over 90% of songs on Spotify, and I heard a lot more than that actually, don't have a single play. It's amazing. Something has to change. I think they may be the ones to change it. Okay, our last company. It came to us from Chile with an idea for how to manufacture sustainable filaments for 3D printing. But as so often happens in an accelerator experience like ours, when you're surrounded with all these resources and mentors and faculty at the Roux that's helping out, they pivoted. And they discovered that what they had invented had an application that was far, far greater than just manufacturing filaments. So I'm going to turn it over to Rogers.
Thank you, Lars. 95% of all plastics end up in landfills. This is because there is not a process to recycle them in a way to create new high-value products. So the recycled plastic don't have the necessary properties and qualities to create new high-value products effectively. And there is simply not enough demand for the low-quality plastics. 2 years ago, Hewlett-Packard tried to do something with their plastic waste. They tried to create a product made of 100% recycled material. They hired a team, spent a ton of money, publicized the efforts, and they failed until Cicla came into the picture. I'm Roger Scalup, CEO and co-founder of Cicla, and we have invented a proprietary technology which allows us to work with plastic waste and create new composite materials which match or outperform the properties of virgin materials. Basically, what we do is work with plastic resin and special additives using our unique formula. And that's why HP has chosen us to pilot their project for 100% recycled plastic. Current technologies allow you to use between 5 to 30% of recycled materials without losing the properties of virgin plastics. Cicla's innovation completely revolutionized that, allowing companies to use nearly 100% of recycled plastic while keeping fidelity with virgin materials. So what we do is provide tech hardware companies with an all-in-one solution for e-waste management. We coordinate with their waste managers to collect and sort the waste. We process and modify it, creating new composite materials to be reintroduced in the company's processes. And then we charge the companies for every pound of recycled plastic that we give back to them. And this is a huge opportunity. E-waste management is a $60 billion market in the United States alone. And we not only solve companies' e-waste management problem, but also provide them with an alternative to buying virgin materials. The timing is right for a disruption like ours. As part of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, the United Nations has urged companies to reduce waste generation through prevention, reduction, recycling, and reuse. And we are perfectly positioned to get everyone there. Luis has 4 years working with composite materials and recycled plastic. Andres has experience leading big organizations. Valentina has helped many successful fundraising rounds. And I have led the development of Cicla from just an idea to a profitable company in Chile. And we are ready to expand the company beyond Chile, which is why
we are excited to announce that Cicla will be headquartered in Maine as we tackle the US market. Well, we're a thriving material science ecosystem, innovative recycling initiatives, and large manufacturer companies. We know that Maine is simply the best place for us. We're already processing our first prototypes here and starting a tech collaboration with the Composite Center of the University of Maine. And if you would like to be part of Cicla's journey to close the circular economy gap, please come to talk to us at the reception later today. Thank you.
Okay, those are the companies. I want to thank the companies for their efforts during these 13 weeks. It's really tough. There's a lot of work, and especially when you're balancing responsibilities with newborns or children at home, or even spouses that didn't join you on the trip to Portland. It can be really challenging. And it's so gratifying to see the community that you've created amongst yourselves to support each other through this process. So I'd like to thank you for bringing your whole selves and bringing your vulnerable selves and making this really work. And thank you for helping me. So thanks to all the companies. Lastly, I just want to, it's been a challenging year for my family, and I just wanted to shout out to my family, some of whom are here. Ingrid, my sister, Mary, my sister-in-law. Patrick, I think, is online checking this out, and my son, and then my wife, Susan. So I'd like to thank them for making this possible. Okay.
Well, I want to also join Lars in thanking all of you as both a Techstars alum from way back in 2013, as well as a Northeastern alum. I'd love to welcome and make sure all of you know not only you're going to be Techstars family for life, you're also part of the Northeastern family for life. So no matter where you go across the world, we're here to make sure you're successful. We hope as much of that activity is here in Maine with the Roux Institute, but wherever you go, we're here to follow. And with that, I want to bring all the companies up. I'd love you all to come join us, the Techstars team that made this happen, and the Roux Institute entrepreneurship team. Please all just come join us up here for a quick photo. All of the family and friends and loved ones that made this happen, here's your shot to get your photo. We're going to get the professional photographers in front, but please, everyone join me, give you a round of applause for these incredible companies, everything they've done to make this such a phenomenal day. And everyone, before you leave, I've got one more ask to close this up. So give me 2 more seconds, I promise. Great. So I want to close up with 3 final asks for each and every one of you. You're all standing, stay standing. The first ask, the thought went through every one of your heads during this. Who's the one person that you know that you can connect these companies to? Is it someone for them to hire, someone to invest in that business, someone to make a connection? Every one of these companies' trajectory could be changed by one introduction today. So if you're thinking about it, go find them at the reception. They'll have green dots on their name tags. You'll recognize the CEOs, but the rest have that. The second is if you want to collaborate more, meet people at the Roux Institute. You'll see us all running around campus in about 5 minutes. Please come reach out. Margaret Angel and her entire partnerships team is happy to talk about how we can work together. And third, the part you're all most excited about, please join us across the street for networking, food, some refreshments, and a great night of networking with these amazing companies. So again, thank you. Please join me in a round of applause, and thank you all for being here.